What's up, my friends? I am, as you can see in my glasses, let me check like this. I'm checking the waves. Hopefully I can still go out there. But it's a bit messy, but windy as well. So I was thinking, hey, let's just shoot this video because there's like some stuff that I've been thinking about lately as I'm reading this very interesting book on AI. And something I've noticed with many people, especially with people that would call themselves enlightened or can see these societal shifts, this paradigm shift we're going through, and are trying to kind of like find freedom from these old structures and old system that we all used to live in. And I'm deliberately saying used to live in because it is already crumbling beneath our feet, and this is actually, I believe, what many people are feeling, and what many people are consciously aware of. That is the reason actually of the experience they have going through this shift, and I think many people are still like unconscious about it. So I just wanted to share some of the ideas and some of the things that I learned and some of the insights and some of the things I'm still really like working on, that's just going through my mind, that I think can really help in trying to see the bigger picture. I think my work has always been like from a dualistic nature. It's like, one, seeing all the things that are happening in the world that are not necessarily such a great thing, and then secondly, how can you turn those things, those shifts, those changes into something positive for yourself. And for me, I have always been optimizing for freedom. Once you achieve freedom, things definitely change. And so I think going forward, what I will be optimizing for will also change. I think it's a bit early for me to tell exactly, or to try to put that in words. And I also don't think it's part of this video, but as I said, like, that's always been the core of my work. Like, okay, we have certain things happening in our society that are super impactful, but how can we turn those into an opportunity for ourselves to achieve more freedom, more wealth, more meaning, more purpose in life? And the way I approached that was always looking at, okay, what is kind of like the bigger picture of what is happening? Like, how can we make sense of the things that we're seeing out there, the things that are happening, the stories that we are telling ourselves, that we're telling other people, and that are being told to us? What is like, how can we figure out what's actually going on, and how can we turn that into a narrative or a story that can benefit us, but in a way that is, kind of down to earth, or can turn into something really practical that you actually have, that you can actually do something with in your day-to-day life, or in the future, in how you want to organize and live your life. And one thing that I have noticed and that I have experienced myself, and I'm still experiencing, is that there is so much loneliness in this world today. And of course, this has a lot to do about the fact that, we kind of live in this system that is in the West heavily optimized for individualism. But then again, this individualism is it's not the goal of what we as humans want to do, or about our existence here. It's just like kind of an end product of the system that we all live in and the system that we all partake in. It's kind of like an end product of it, or even like a side effect. And of course, we all know, we've never been so connected with each other, in a sense of digital technologies, but at the same time, we've never been so disconnected from each other. And this is something that almost everybody I know is going through, intense seasons of loneliness, and more also intense seasons and feelings of feeling meaningless and being without a purpose, and not knowing how to move forward and not knowing what it is that you really want to do with life. And I think one of the main drivers for that is that, as I said before, our system and how we end up being so individualistic in the West is because our system is optimized for output, for profit, for efficiency, for productivity, and it is in no way really organized or structured around what we as humans really need. We humans, we have to kind of like fit and squeeze ourselves in this system that we all have to partake in every single day, or most of us. And so in order to do that, because this system is not optimized for human KPIs, basically, we kind of have to leave a big part of ourselves at the door. And so we kind of have to like box ourselves in. And so we all go through this journey of trying to, usually most of us are try to like become a part of the system and find success and wealth and freedom and whatever other achievements that you're trying to strive for within the system. And we get like a few decades usually to try to find out what works for us, what doesn't work for us as an individual, as a person. And we do get like usually a lot of opportunities to experiment with that and to try to, you know, figure that out as we go. And most of us, we have to go through a lot of, you know, failures or things we don't like doing and things we find out that in the end wasn't really for us, in order to find something that really works for us. And still everything around that is very focused on, you know, usually material success or achievements or status, ego. And many of us, through this process, we even go through like often existential crises or health crises, like for example burnout or disease like cancer, that kind of stuff. And you know, down the road, most of us just understand that, okay, you know, like this system, it can never bring me the things that I truly desire. There is an emptiness to be found at the end of this game. If you play this game, you know, within the system, and you try to like kind of win in the system, the end game, or like the final result, will always be some kind of like emptiness, like a discovery of, holy shit, like what the hell have I been doing? Like I thought that achieving this would make me super happy, and now I discover that it's not making me happy at all. Like, what the hell? What's going on? What's next? And of course, to most people, this is not new information. But what I do think that is pretty new in this story, and it's kind of important to know, is that I think there's more going on than just that. I think we all see and feel that these old structures on which this system was running are falling apart in every possible way, in the way our society is organized. Everything is kind of falling apart, and everything is being very rapidly accelerated by technology. And I think this last part is a very important part, because the technology, and now lately AI, it is truly accelerating this process. And why? Because in this system, a large part of who you are as an individual, as part of this system, it is tailored or organized or structured around what you bring to the table within that system, which is most of the times has a tie to an economical function within the system. It's your job, it's your career, it's your work, it's what, you know, it's the central part of how we are achieved, or how our value is measured within the system in the West. It is through what we bring to the system in terms of productivity, in terms of economic value. And so this is like the center part of this whole journey and this whole striving for finding success and meaning and purpose in life. You know, it is centered around what can we as an individual bring to the table for the greater good. And it is usually measured in, you know, how much money you make, what your certain status or level within a certain organizational structure is, and the benefits that come with that, how high you can climb the political ladder, You know, a lot of times it actually comes down in how good you can cheat the system, or, and often a combination, how good you are at leaving your human side at the door when you dive into the system and when you partake in the system. You know, I think this is an important thing to understand, that the people that achieve the most in terms, or in the, explained in the KPIs of the system, you know, efficiency, output, wealth, money, success, profit, etc. These kind of things, you can follow me, are usually the people that left most of what makes them human hidden or at the door, or left it out of the equation or something, you know. Often these people are even called superhuman, but I would like say that they might be like the opposite of that. And why is this so important to understand? Because there is like a large group of people that is already exiting this system. You know, people that that feel enlightened in everything that has been going on and happening in the last years. And these people have already, for a part, have gone through this experience of what I'm trying to explain here. But soon, and this is the important part, because many of these people are actually willing to do this, they are actually consciously aware of this shift, and they're also like trying to take certain steps or to do certain things in order to be able to exit the system, which is a big difference with those who are not doing that, who are still like operating in the system, consciously or unconsciously agreeing to that system and still finding meaning and purpose and direction and success within that system. And the crazy thing for me that I've came to realize lately is that AI will force these people into the same direction of interacting with reality, interacting with daily life, finding meaning and purpose in life, as all the people that are now like fully conscious are trying to exit or already have exited the system, and who have already gone through certain phases and emotions and happenings in their life. And so these people, this is like an insanely much larger group than the people who are actually working on exiting the system. These people are not ready for what is coming. Like, these people are going to face a ridiculously big existential crisis in the next years, because it's happening fucking fast. I mean, if you're conscious about what's happening, you can actually feel the acceleration. You can see how much faster life is moving, while at the same time you feel that you as a person are also going through exponential growth. So there is like this strange dynamic going on. There's like this strange relationship between the way that what you don't want to be part of anymore is like accelerating in speed and going much faster, or growing much faster in that what you don't want to be part of anymore. And at the same time, you feel like you are also going through like major leaps in your personal development and trying to figure out what is important and what does make you human and what you really want to do with your life for the rest of your days. And at the same time, between those two, there's like some sort of void, some sort of chasm, because you are no longer actually participating in that system that is only accelerating more and more and growing faster into that which you don't want to be part of anymore. So the mirror, like it's like a reflection. The mirror is becoming bigger and bigger. It's becoming more apparent that you don't want to be part of it anymore. At the same time, you are going through these exponential quantum leaps, which make it for you very hard to actually participate in a system that is going in the other direction faster and faster. And so there is like this kind of void, this emptiness, this hole, in which most of us, or many of us, are now trying to like figure out like what the hell is going on, and how do we navigate through this almost black hole, through this void, through this chasm. Like, we are all trying to like cling on to something that used to give us direction and meaning and purpose and sense, and that used to like inflate our ego, but it's just not there at the moment. Like, because we're all figuring out that it's not outside, it's inside of us. But how the hell do we do that? And this is like the big trick, because it's not about how, and we are used to like trying to figure out that question by asking ourselves, how do we do this? How do we do this? Find a solution for this problem here inside my head. But it's not inside of your head that this problem will be met by a solution. And so I'm kind of like deviating a little bit, but what I was saying is about this insanely large group of people that are not consciously going through this shift, but they are part of it. And as I said, technology is driving them towards that, towards a kind of disentanglement or disconnection from that system that used to give them sense and direction and purpose. And why will this happen? Simply because AI, it is replacing everything that we as a human being are valued for within the system. And there are a few exceptions for sure. But, and this is something I always hear from people when they're talking about AI, yeah, but you know, the human part is still important, and you know, humans will still be an important part of it. Well, yes, the human part is super important indeed, but outside of that equation of what AI is transcending and AI is doing, because AI is simply replacing what gives you value in the market, what gives you value in society, in that part which is still an essential way of organizing our society. And technology and AI can move and change so much faster than we as human beings can do, and especially the way our society is currently organized. So this will create a massive tension. I think it will just create one almost massive psychosis, and I think we can already see it in how people are behaving and what people are doing to themselves and to each other, and just like the disappearance of like important things that keep societies together, like integrity, like an ethical baseline or like moral ground. It feels like all these things are just like melting in the sun, because people are trying to keep running in this machine, in this system that is having less and less space for the human part. And because it is having less and less space for the human part, because it's not built and optimized for that, people that are trying to like keep up with it are having to do less and less human things in order to be able to keep running in that system. Like it's like, if you think about it, it's total insanity. Like, and I think this is what we're gonna see in the next. It's already happening, especially in the next years, the next decade. I think it's gonna be like the main challenge for, I think, is for most people is going to try to keep their sanity, because, as I said, their economic value is going to disappear. And so the thing that is giving them direction, meaning, purpose in life will fade away. It won't happen in like one day, but it will slowly, I mean quite fast actually, but it will like eat up that economic value. AI will transcend that, AI will replace that. So people are left with basically nothing that will give them a sense of meaning, purpose, achievement, direction. And so can you imagine how many people are ready for this? Like, I can tell you, like, not that many people are ready for this. And so I think it will become super important. Oh, sorry, like what I was saying is one, so the reason for this insanity, one, because, you know, our value, meaning, purpose within society is gonna be replaced by AI. But secondly, we are going to live more and more into these synthetic realities and synthetic economies in which we have no way, or almost no way, to verify what is actually real and what is not. Like, this will happen pretty soon. This is already happening. Like, AI and a human, digitally, you will not be able to discern between the two. Furthermore, these synthetic realities, these digital realities, are going to be able to like deliver things that they will be completely empty and meaningless, but people will choose these experiences, and people will have to go through these experiences to understand that this digital abundance that we are getting access to, that just can basically turn any fantasy into reality, digital reality, will become completely empty and completely meaningless once you have access to it, you know? So I think these are two very important parts and shifts that you should understand and should see, and somehow figure out how you will navigate through that. I think many people that are watching here have a very important role to play in that. And so our conversations and our connections are going to be extremely important, because we cannot do this alone. You know, if we want to bring back if we want to bring back humanity basically into the way we organize society, then we will have to do this together. And some people will lead, some people will follow, but we will have to do this together. And I think it is existential. It is existential. At least that's how it feels to me right now. And I've been going through this experience for, forever, you know, basically forever, because during this lifetime at least that I'm aware of. But there's always been this feeling, this sense of, hey, something is off within reality, within the system. It's a bit like the movie The Matrix, you know, where also a lot of my work is based upon. And then you kind of find out like why that is, or how these systems really work, and that they're not optimized for your happiness, but for different things. And then you try to like find a way how you can exist outside of those systems. And this second phase that I'm now describing was more, I don't know, like ever since kind of COVID came, that was for me the big trigger. Before, I was always trying to find my success within the system, very ego based. And then I managed to like escape that system, or escape the matrix, or the simulation, whatever you want to call it. And then like for me, it was like, holy shit, like it doesn't end here, man. Like it's only just starting, because you kind of enter this space and place where, as I said, everything that gave you direction and meaning and purpose in life just kind of falls away. And you kind of start living like a parallel reality to the system, but you still have kind of like access to, like, it's first you really start, you hate it, like you take your distance from it. Then you start to see it for what it is, and for its role that it's actually playing to us humans, and for humanity, and for our evolution. And then you start to kind of like trying to take best of both worlds, you know, trying to exist outside of the system, try to build something different, and try to get like the best of the system. And that's a beautiful blend, actually, like, because this system also offers like amazing things for sure. So you start to look at it in a much more healthy, positive way. But still, like, it's a very lonely road. It's a very difficult road. But now I feel like everything that this system used to be is now just really crumbling beneath our feet, and soon it won't exist anymore. And I'm ready for this. Like, this is, I feel, part of my purpose here is to show that way, is to show this transition, so show this shift, and just to share my journey on it, and hopefully help everyone that's open to it and resonates with this and tries to figure out their way. You know, I think sharing my truth, my journey, to help you share and find yours. But I think right now what's happening is just even a step further. It's like everything is just kind of blending, and this old system will no longer exist, and I think we are really now witnessing the start of this break. I mean, it's not the start; it's already going on for a long time. But AI just somehow came to the picture and just is now really rapidly accelerating this. And hey, man, it is scary, but it's also a major opportunity, I think, for those ready to do the work. And again, this has always been how I see things, this dualism between this threat and this opportunity, and trying to figure out how to go through that shift. So anyways, as I said, I think conversations here are super important, connections here are super important. So yeah, let me know what you think, and I love to chat about this stuff. So hopefully we can start an amazing conversation. Cheers, guys.